We have a pretty disgusting case coming out of Laverne, Tennessee, where this officer, who was a married woman, turned the police station into a brothel. This woman right here is at the center of her own action drama series, 304 in the City. Multiple instances surrounding her in the town of misconduct. No doubt about it, she is 1000% out of order. We're going to go ahead and get into it, but first, take a second to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Click the notification bell for all updates. And if you're watching from Laverne, Tennessee, let us know below in the comments. Alright, so we have Maegan Hall here out of Laverne, Tennessee. This city girl cop is 26 years old. She's out here popping her thought pocket and giving Becky to everybody at the Laverne Police Department. The thought cop was running around telling her colleagues that she was in an open marriage. She was saying that she was trying to recruit her husband for swinging sessions. However, her husband, the son of a pastor, wasn't on board at all. The truth is, Maegan was cheating on her husband and having relations with male colleagues as well as their wives. Jason Cole, mayor of Laverne, a town of 40,000 people, 20 miles southeast of Nashville, announced that Maegan had been fired along with 4 officers she's alleged to have had flings with last year while on and off duty. 3 other officers were suspended. The thought cop performed acts while on city property and on the clock. She was meeting up with one of her colleagues at a hotel. She went to their homes. She was at boat parties and hot tub parties, taking off her Magic City uniform completely. And she even had an affair with one of her colleagues and his wife. It was an internal investigation that exposed all of this. Detective Seneca Shields, he confessed that Maegan gave him in the department's gym while on duty, and of course, he was terminated. Then there's Patrick Magliocco. He's a patrol officer very familiar with Maegan. While at a Memorial Day hot tub party on a boat, Maegan took her top off in front of Patrick, as well as 2 other officers, David Durham and Eric Statz. Patrick was pouring alcohol down her throat, and when she took her top off, Eric Statz, who owned the boat, claims he helped her put it back on because she was embarrassing herself. According to Patrick, though, when they got off the boat, Maegan approached him and said, "Do you want to F?" And that's when she performed an act on him. The other 2 officers on the boat, the officer that owned the boat and Officer Durham, said they did not have an inappropriate relationship with Maegan. But Patrick, on the other hand, he claims that he and his wife was in a full-blown 3-way relationship with Maegan. Patrick told investigators that Maegan kissed his wife, Amy. Maegan's husband saw her doing this and he was upset. Patrick, though, he was not fired. Instead, they suspended him. Next, you have Gavin Showborough. He was suspended and charged with harassment after exchanging explicit images with Maegan, as well as K-9 officer Larry Holliday. He was suspended and charged with harassment. He admitted to investigators that he was having off-duty relations with Maegan, where they will meet up at hotels in his house. Lewis Powell, he's one of the officers who first denied that he was involved. Investigators said that Maegan Hall performed acts on Powell while he was on duty, and after she did what she did to him, she went around the whole department bragging about it and repeating that he had a BBC. Powell later confessed to the allegations and he was terminated. Juan Lugo Perez also initially denied claims that he had relations with Maegan, but later admitted that he was lying and he did have relations with her while at Go-Kart USA in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. In addition to having relations in a public place, Juan Lugo Perez and Maegan Hall exchanged photos. Juan was also terminated. And then last, you have Sergeant Henry Ty McGowan. He admitted to having relations with Maegan twice, most recently on December 4th at his house in Laverne. Maegan claims that Sergeant McGowan told her to use him if she ever wanted to have relations, and they would trade pictures back and forth. Sergeant McGowan also terminated. So of the 4 officers terminated, you have Henry Ty McGowan, Juan Lugo Perez, Seneca Shields, and Lewis Powell. Larry Holliday was suspended, Gavin Showborough was suspended, as well as Patrick Magliocco, who was having an affair with Maegan along with his wife. These 3 men all suspended.
Shocked and disappointed, that's the word from one city leader as several Laverne police officers are off the job, all linked to a sexual misconduct scandal. Good evening, I'm Vicki Yates.
And I'm Rory Johnston. Tonight News Channel 5's Nick Barris shares the very latest developments as this investigation continues.
Several Laverne police officers here are caught up in something of a scandal. Everything from inappropriate sexual conduct, sexual harassment, lying, and word is, that's not the end of it.
Shocked and overall disappointed with our police department and what's happened.
Newly elected Alderman Kara Hobbs says since the story broke on Friday, she's been flooded with constituent calls.
It's been really frustrating from a leadership standpoint to have citizens' questions and concerns regarding this, and I'm learning the details right along with the general public.
Here is what we know. An internal investigative report documents explicit and graphic detail of officers involved in sexual misconduct, some of it happening while on duty and on city property. 5 have been fired: Patrol Officer Megan Hall, Patrol Officer Juan Lugo Perez, Sergeant Lewis Powell, Detective Seneca Shields, and Sergeant Henry Ty McGowan. 3 others have been suspended: K-9 Officer Larry Holliday, Patrol Officer Patrick Magliocco, and Patrol Officer Gavin Schoberl. Hobbs says details of the investigation made public so far have shaken public confidence in the PD.
There's definitely going to be a time period where we're going to have to really emphasize rebuilding the trust of our community. Yeah.
Police Chief Chip Davis issued a statement saying, in part, the actions of a few do not represent the entire department. The situation will be addressed internally, and that counselors are being brought in to help officers. He also says there is sufficient staff remaining to cover all patrol shifts. At this point, these are all internal police department violations, but I did talk to the Rutherford County District Attorney. He says at this point there's no evidence of criminal activity, but it's something he will be watching very closely. Nick Barris, News Channel 5.
All right, Nick, thank you. By the way, Laverne's mayor, Jason Cole, said he thinks the situation is unacceptable. His top priority is rebuilding the trust between the department and the public.
Megan's husband, Jedediah Hall, reportedly confronted her about cheating, but word is he's sticking by his wife and he's trying to make their marriage work. Her husband is 28 years old. They've been married for about 4 years. This is a perfect example of what happens when you try to convert a 304 into a wife. This is the pastor's daughter-in-law. And side note, how did Jedediah end up with Jezebel? Not only did the thought cop embarrass herself, but she's embarrassed her husband and their whole family name. And now the town is running around talking about her family. The 62 cops working in the department, they have to undergo mandatory retraining in rules, regulations, and expectations. As for Megan, she's sick of the media coverage, and her solution is for everybody to forget about it and move on. Reporters caught her outside in her front yard, waiting on her dog to pee, and in her first public comment since the scandal, she said, "I don't want to discuss it, I'm just going to move on and live my life." And she said this with a shrug, by the way. Like, la la la, who cares what I did, get over it. That's her attitude, and are you surprised? My final thoughts here, I think everyone who got fired should have been fired. And the 3 officers who got suspended, they should have been fired as well. Megan is a wild animal, and I'm wondering, how did she pass all those evaluations to become an officer anyway? Officer Patrick, the one who had the affair with her, him and his wife, he claimed that she had issues. But I'm thinking her husband also has issues. He should be filing for divorce, not sticking by this 304. No way, no how. I say her husband get a lawyer ASAP, as well as some SIMPTERVENTION. Let's go ahead and get the conversation started below. Shout out to John C. I appreciate you, John, for your support for the channel. Don't forget that you can support this channel as well. Links to Cash App and PayPal are below. Ladies, fellas, want a balanced analysis, want the truth from a woman's perspective? Then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to like and share.